What's up, guys? Boogie back again. Welcome back to the channel. So, guys, I've some very important videos to go through with you guys, and you can see the first one is from Flagrant Podcast. Shout out to Andrew, right? So, guys, this is a video that the entire video is 2.5 hours to 40 minutes, but this is a video if one of you guys has ever wanted to, get married or you're wondering about your prenup, or you're married and you're worried about divorce, you're wondering how to bring up the conversation of prenup to your wife or to your currently fiance, your engaged. This is a very important video. I believe no man should get married from 2025 and beyond before watching this video, because most guys want to get married but they're afraid of divorce. Men are not afraid of marriage, they are afraid of divorce. And most importantly, most men are afraid of what can happen when they get divorced and what can happen in the family court. We're talking about paying alimony, losing your house, losing some assets as a man. So most men are scared of divorce and what happens. Because if it was you get divorced, the wife goes away with what she came with and the man goes away with what he came with, guys would be okay. But most guys know, they see stories of so many times, especially celebrities, getting wrecked in divorces, and most guys are like, you know what, I really want to get married, I believe in the institution of marriage, but divorce and getting wrecked in family court is not for me. So Flagrant Podcast, they brought on this very prominent divorce family court lawyer, and he was dropping gems. So I don't even want you guys to wait so long, but tell a friend to tell a friend that they have to watch this before they get married, or before, you know, um, if they're thinking about a prenup, this is something they're gonna want to watch. All right. Without further ado, let's get into it.
I was talking about it on Mark's show some time ago when I represented a guy who was a pimp, like literally a pimp. That was his job. Like he actually was, he's in federal prison now for guns, but he was an atrocious human. Like their 50s, with like they all got that New York, the Pride's cosmetic surgery look. And like this is not. Like I could do better than that.
What about somebody's second wife?
Like one somebody's second wife. Usually prenup. If there's a prenup,
they lock them in.
Yeah, they're smart enough to lock him in. I say to the 3 fucking guys who are married and don't have prenup.
Well, he's not married yet.
Yeah,
Should he get a prenup?
Still hope for you.
Should he get a
So these guys, this guy, and this guy, they're all married. They got no prenups. So it's about to get very, very interesting, because it's going to tell them exactly why they should have a prenup, or why they should have considered a prenup before. Let's go.
prenup?
Of course he should have a all fucking 3, all of you should have a prenup.
Yeah, but it's
Why?
no fun.
What do you mean? Why?
Don't you
What's
wanna-
no fun?
Don't you like the
fuck are you
risk of it?
talking about?
Like every argument that you get in with your wife, you're like, man, half my shit at the end of this argument.
That's the incentive for you.
Exciting?
That's the
Don't you want to live on the edge?
weird definition.
I'm
of
out
excitement.
coddled. I'm climbing the side of the cliff.
That's
There's no
how you
rope.
feel. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Come on,
wow.
I honestly do feel like if we get divorced, you take half the shit. Do I think I can't make more money? Like, go away. I'm paying you to go away.
Yeah.
Here's half my shit. Shut up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go make more money and then we're done.
Would it be
The issue with that is, when most people get divorced, the man is usually way older, so he can't work as much as he used to. So for this guy to say, okay, when we get divorced, I'll make up the money. No, you can't. Unless you're very lucky. Most times you can't. If you get divorced in like 50 or 65, as a man, you're in your retirement age. If the woman takes half of your assets, half of your money, you won't be able to make up that money, because it took you decades to make that money. So you're not gonna make it up just because you're already old, bro. I don't know. His argument falls on it. It doesn't make sense.
even cooler though? Is
has to
keeping
justify
all that
himself.
fucking money.
No, Andrew's whole goal is to have her make more money than me anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, look, what I'll tell you is, I mean, first of all, I don't think anybody wants their marriage to continue, with their spouse to stay in the marriage because they don't want to give up half their shit. That's like a bad incentive. Right? Like you want someone to stay married to you because they want to be married to you. They think you add value to their life, that they enjoy your company, that more often than not, they're glad they're with you, whatever. Any number of justifications.
Yeah.
But to say, well, I'm with him because I don't want to have to give away half
That's
my
what Alex
shit.
He's got broke boy mentality.
Terrible, right?
He's got broke boy mentality. He's like a child. He's like a big child.
Yeah, we got to.
So if I were to get a prenup, what should I include in it?
I think the easiest prenup is the one that I would encourage most people to have, which is I call it the yours, mine, and ours. If it's in your name, asset or liability, you keep it. If it's in her name, asset or liability, she keeps it. If it's in joint names, you split it 50-50. That's it, clean. Here's what I'll tell you. Everybody, all three of you have a prenup. The government wrote it.
Oh, that's a bar. Because these guys are saying they didn't sign prenups before their marriage, right? Because all three married, apart from the black guy is not married. But they thought they didn't have a prenup. But the divorce lawyer is saying everyone signs a prenup. It's just that most people sign the prenup with the government. As soon as you sign that marriage contract, you're signing a prenup. Which means when it comes to the government can decide how they want you guys to split the assets. Whether you think it's fair or not, they're going to decide for you.
The state legislature wrote your fucking prenup. And by the way, like, you think that's a good idea? Like, you ever been to the DMV?
Yeah.
You ever walk into the DMV and go, these people should be in charge of everything. Like, they're great at it. This is really good. But no, the reality is like the government is the worst fucking people to write your
To whom, though? To whom?
Well, the government is not in your house every single day. They don't know when your wife pisses you off. They don't know when you piss off your wife. They don't know when you guys have a fight. They don't know how hard you work. They don't know how many hours you put in every week. You know, they don't know how much daycare, how many bills you have to pay. You know, so they are not in your household. So no one outside of your household should be able to tell you how to split your assets. So he's saying you two are the best people to split your assets. And I agree. But I think the issue is most men don't know how to bring up the prenup talk to their women, because some women will say, so you don't trust me? You think I just want you for your money? So most guys just get, fearful of the conversation.
First to whom? To my wife or to me? To
Both of you. The process. You've signed up for a rule set that you don't even know.
I don't know.
Like you bought a house, right? You bought a house. You had to sign a HUD-1, a lead paint disclosure. You got all this fucking information about the loan. You got married. You didn't get a fucking pamphlet. Yeah. You just did the most legally significant thing you're going to do in your whole life other than die. And you have no fucking clue what happens. You have the first time you are big dick energy. That's what it's called.
I like the way the black guy is trolling them. The black guy on the other side is the only one who's not married. So they were clowning him for saying he's so scared. He's scared. He's a scared baby for not getting married and being worried a prenup. Now, after the divorce lawyer says you guys are dummies for, signing a marriage contract without knowing all the facts about what marriage constitutes, he's laughing at them. He's bringing back the fire, which is true. Most people marry for love. Oh, we are in love. Lovey-dovey Disney fantasy. But that shit ends at some point. The honeymoon phase is going to all go off. Who you marry 10 years later is going to be different. And I'm not married. So some of you guys are going to say, oh, how can you speak? You're not married. But I can speak on it because I'm human. Our feelings change. If your parents can be pissed off at you, what do you think a stranger who is your wife or husband is going to do 10 years down the road? People grow and change. So things are going to change. But if you have a prenup, that's something that you both signed, you agree, hey, listen, if things don't go our way, you take this, I take this, everyone will feel like it's a fair share.
I don't put that. Look at the documents. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
I'm going to take it.
More lead paint.
Translate that to going to Vegas and being like, I'm betting it all on black. How much? I don't know all of it. Go.
I would do that.
Fucking crazy.
I have lost quite a few Bitcoins. So
it is crazy.
It is what it's.
It is crazy. It is crazy. 100%.
Because my attitude is, look, all kidding aside, every marriage has a prenup. It's either one that's written by the government, or it's written by the two people that like each other theoretically more than the other 8 billion other options, right?
Right.
So who is better to come up with a rule set than those two people? And that's all a prenup is. A prenup is just saying, look, there's going to come a time, like if you get married, it's smart to say to your spouse, when you're getting along still,
yeah,
babe, we're gonna get in a fight at some point. I promise. It's probably gonna be my fault. I'm gonna say some dumb shit. I say dumb shit. It happens.
Yeah.
When we get in that fight, what should that look like? Do you need a minute? Should I give you some space? Like, if I force you to talk about it, is it going to turn into a whole thing? Or do we need to take care of this now because you don't want to go to bed angry? Like, I want to know. Because the worst time to learn how to fight is when you're in a fucking fight. Like, that's the worst time to learn how to do a fight.
Yeah.
So that's all the prenup is. A prenup is saying, look, we're getting along right now. We have an abundance of goodwill between the two of us. If, God forbid, in the highly unlikely 56 fucking percent, the highly unlikely chance that we would get divorced, what would that look like? And by the way, there's a way to say it that I think has a tremendous amount of big dick energy, which is to say, you know what? You're my woman. I want you to feel safe.
Yeah, like
you can't feel loved unless you feel safe. And the way I want you to feel safe, the way I want you to feel safe is I want you to feel safe from everyone, including me. So what is
dumb do you think our
owe
wives
each other?
are?
So I think most guys struggle with that. You know, most guys are caught up in the love, honeymoon stage phase, and they think, listen, if I bring up the prenup talk, she may change, she may leave me, she may stop loving me because she's gonna say I don't trust her. She's gonna say, how can you think I'm a gold digger? I just want you for your money. But the divorce lawyer, he has the experience. He's saying that's actually the best time to talk about a prenup. Hey, listen, babe, you came with your stuff, you did your 2 cars, I came with my bike. I'll take my bike, you take your 2 cars. That's all he's saying. But most people, most guys, because at the end of the day, men are the ones who are going to bring up the talk of a prenup most times. You know what I mean? So, but I think, like I said, in my opinion, most guys are scared. They're scared the woman is going to leave them or lose interest or stop loving them because it comes off as you don't trust me. It comes off as, so you think we're going to get divorced, we're going to break up kind of mentality,
Well, I mean, the marriage you.
She's like, I got this simp.
Yo, actual question, yours, mine, and ours. How does that go once you're married? Everything's just gonna go ours, right? You're gonna buy the house, it's gonna be our name. You're gonna buy the cars, it's gonna be our name.
Conversation you gotta have. Like, look, you know this as a married man. If you can't have difficult conversations with your spouse, don't get fucking married. Like part of being married is having hard conversations,
How
talking
do you
about
feel
tough stuff.
personally?
Yeah.
Let's say you and your wife are both working. Wife decides to not work to raise the child.
Sure, common.
And maybe I'm telling you how I feel without asking you how you
That's
feel.
okay.
But like, there's a part of me that goes, okay, well, first of all, anything, I don't have a prenup, obviously, so anything that we own is both of ours. But like, I think that if she's going to make that sacrifice and that decision, I think she's entitled to half of everything.
Who would disagree with
Okay, good. Because I think there's sometimes people.
Totally fair.
Okay, and I think sometimes people are like, well, if you're making the money, that's all you. It's like,
Right.
yeah, but you're able to do that because somebody's looking after the child.
Right.
Now, there's circumstances, like your guys' circumstances, they don't have a kid yet, right? So like he's making money and,
Right.
your wife could be making money. So he might have an argument to go, well, I'm going to keep all of this because you could be working.
Yeah.
But I do think once you add children into the mix,
Yeah.
there's a very different.
But I totally agree, and I think any reasonable person would. But
Okay.
just to push back on that thought
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yep.
What I would say to you is, okay, but there's got to be a stop loss somewhere in there, right? Like
What
there's
does that
got to be some sense of like, what is that obligation? Because look, at the end of the day, we all owe each other things when we make decisions like this.
Oh,
right?
you're saying at a
like
certain
in some
number.
ways,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have the success you have if it wasn't for your wife.
Absolutely.
She supported you. She
Sure.
helped build. Okay, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your wife wouldn't be the person she is if it wasn't for her mother.
Sure.
So what do you owe her mother? How much?
I think at least half.
Okay. Her mother wouldn't be the person she was if it wasn't for her mother.
She
So how
needs
much
half
do we
too.
owe grandma?
She needs half
Okay,
too.
so
Yeah.
the math on this gets a little fuzzy.
They all need half.
So the reality is
Everybody.
look, I think fundamentally,
Yeah, they need half of her.
value is an important thing. I just watched your special, and I got a huge kick out, especially as a divorce lawyer, the shit we laugh at. But when you said the thing about, we made
a baby.
We made a baby, and you're like, oh, just like we made this money, like it's our money. Like, okay, look, at the end of the day, we know you earn more than her, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so why do we have to be afraid to say that out loud? Like, marriage is an economy.
Yeah.
That's not a dirty word. An economy is We're exchanging value.
Yeah.
We're giving and receiving. And an economy does not require that everyone gives and receives the exact same fucking thing.
Right.
You can say, like Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, without Steve Wozniak,
Sure.
Steve Jobs would have a lot of cool ideas he couldn't do shit with.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak would be a dude in his garage making shit but have no vision. So together they brought something to fruition. Same thing with the marriage. I think
Yeah, I think most, like I said, I think most guys are okay with marriage. They are just scared of their lives being turned upside down. Because the guy will buy a house when he's single, find a woman, get married, the woman moves in, they have kids. When they get divorced, guess who's kicked out and become homeless? The man from the house he had before the wife. So most guys are scared of that. But I think, like he said, I think if you have a wife, she's been home the whole time, you've been working, she's been taking care of the kids, yeah, she should get something. And that something usually comes through child support, but it shouldn't be, because some states apparently you have to pay alimony to your ex-wife, even if she gets another man to come into your house that you bought before you met her. You're still paying alimony as she brings new men in your house to clap her cheeks. So most guys, when think about that, they're like, no. You mean to tell me I'm going to keep paying you money to stay in the house that I bought, but you can still bring new men to clap your cheeks in the same house? So when guys think about that, they're like, no, it's not a fair deal.
No question.
Does she get half? Does that really make sense? Half of everything?
So there's no question of whether what you're saying makes sense. I think the difficult emotional battle, which you've probably done thousands of times, is putting a dollar value on what somebody brings to the table in a marriage. Like, what is the dollar value you're worth for raising our kid?
Yes.
That's a really difficult thing to do. It feels icky.
But it only feels icky for reasons that I think we could fix as a culture, and that is that why can't we be on? Like, I'm a fan of honesty.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of just say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Like, you give me, like, because here's the problem. Here's the problem with modern marriage from a man's perspective, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Most of the marriages I know, okay, the man provides financially. He protects, right? He, he's also there to be part of the family dynamic, taking care of kids, doing the things that he can do. What does the woman bring? She brings love, affection, a little bit of sweetness at the end of the day, sex. She brings, taking care of kids. Okay. If you get divorced, every single thing on that side of the man equation, he can be compelled to do by the power of the state. And if he fails to do it, they can put him in jail.
Facts.
Nothing on that other side, the female side, is enforceable at law. The court cannot order her to be nice to you, to fuck you, to be a wonderful mother to your children. She can't. They can't force that. So
yeah, and that's where guys have an issue. Because even when a woman says she's unhappy in a relationship, you have to pay the bills. Like, a woman can be unhappy and be like, I'm not going to cook for you, I'm not going to do this, but she still expects you to pay the bills. If someone breaks into the house, she expects you to protect. So men are like, this is not fair. Because can you think of a scenario where a man can say, you know what, baby, I'm not happy because you didn't cook today, so for this next month, I'm not going to pay rent. For this next month, I'm not going to pay our electric bill. I'm not going to pay our water bill. They would be going crazy. They would be calling that guy crazy. So he's saying that the man, especially when he's going to talk about child support as well, how men are forced to, pay child support, and if they don't pay child support, they'll go to jail. You feel me? So most guys are like, this is not fair. Like, how come I'm forced to do these things, but my wife is not forced to do her duties?
So when you have a contract where only one side of it is enforceable with the power of the state and the other side is not, my attitude is, why don't we then just have an honest conversation about what we could both be afraid of and what value we want to attribute?
But the court can't force you to protect your wife, and the court can't force you to make money
economically
for your
they
family.
can force you to. They can force you to protect somebody. You can, like, I've had cases where the court says, okay, this person needs a security detail. If it's a celebrity, they say these kids are going to need security for when they go to school, things like that.
But the average person, like, can the court say you have to work? to a dad?
Well, what the courts say is Lincoln freed the slaves. Like if you're a, you know, if you're a,
You know, if I didn't look old, appreciate it.
Like I like Brand.
You jumped right in on that. Like, nod to Lincoln, by the way. That's one of the big ups.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
what I'm saying, what I
Yeah, the dude in court.
Take a right on racist
Yeah, you said her pussy was like a bowl of oatmeal.
yeah.
It's thicker than
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
So if your financial status at the moment you were getting divorced determined what your obligations were, everybody quit their fucking job the minute they were getting divorced.
Right.
So what the courts say is like if you're a brain surgeon who now I'm getting divorced, I decided I want to be a fucking yoga teacher.
Right.
The court goes, look, Lincoln freed the slaves. We can't make you be a brain surgeon. You're just going to be you're going to be a yoga teacher who has the financial obligations of a brain surgeon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most guys don't think about that. Did you hear what he just said? So if I'm a man, right, and I get on child support or I'm getting a divorce and I'm making $100,000, and the judge says, hey, listen, you're making $100,000, you're going to pay $2,000 a month for child support. Apparently, even if I change a job, on my own to make less money so I can pay less child support, the judge won't change my child support payment because, you know, child support is based on income. But some guys may try to get a lower paying job so they can pay lower child support. The judge apparently will still force you to pay the same child support because they think you intentionally changed your job, you know, income so you can pay less.
So they impute an income to you.
Oh, really?
And they'll say, whatever you do for a living, it's fine. We can't force you to work, but we can give you financial obligations commensurate with your earning capacity, even if you're not earning at that capacity.
Wow.
Which is actually really
That's
fucked up sometimes. Yeah. Like I had a client once who was an air traffic controller. And if you know anything about air traffic controllers, like you can have a high school education, be an air traffic controller, make like $300,000-400,000 a year.
Wow.
Like you can do really, really well. Well, this guy, his mother passed away. He was very close with her. He had a lot of anxiety and a lot of depression from it, and he had to go on medication, psychiatric medication, to like sort of deal with it. You're not allowed to be on benzodiazepines or certain psychiatric medications while you're in air traffic control, so he was terminated from his position. The next best job this guy could get, he made about $50,000 a year, but the court was like, no.
You still got to.
Your earning capacity is $350,000 a year. That's what you made. And we were like, Judge, what job can this guy get where he's going to make that amount of money? So it can sometimes, this is how guys end up in jail for not paying.
So what'd he do?
It's not their fault.
So what'd he do?
He suffered, basically. Yeah. I mean, he had a very unfair child support award placed against him. He ended up in jail a couple of times. It was a really.
Because he was like selling drugs or something to make the money?
No,
or?
he just was not. He didn't pay his support. It's illegal to not pay child support. You can be put in jail.
But you
And that's where some guys are also choosing, you know what? I'm not having kids. You know what? I'm done having kids. I'm never having kids. The guys who have kids are like, I'm never having kids again. And the guys who don't have kids look at stories like this and they're like, you know what? Because there is no man who's going to watch this story and be like, you know what? I'm so excited. I can't wait to have kids. Now, any man who wants to have kids is going to watch a story like this, a video like this, and start thinking, is this really worth it? You know what I mean? Because another issue most guys have is even when you pay child support, there is no way to tell if the mother is really using that money on the kids. For example, I just saw Elon Musk is paying one of his baby mamas like $500,000 a month. $500,000 a month for one baby? Like, which baby needs $500,000 a month? You see? So, because there's no way to track how the woman is using the money. So some guys are like, it's not fair. Because guys don't have an issue taking care of their babies, of their kids. But it's like, okay, I'm giving the woman all this money, but she's changing hair every week. She's buying new bags. She's out at brunch with her girlfriends. Like, Judge, I just need to see how she's spending the money. You know, we could use half of that money to save for the kids' college fund. You feel me? And then another thing is most guys have an issue with child support because I'm paying money, but I can't see my kids as often as I want to. I still need visitation requirements and stuff like that. So some guys are like, I'm done having kids.
You can't go back for a readjustment if you have.
We did after a certain amount of time, and then it was granted. Yeah, like it was the judge sort of didn't buy that this was not done intentionally. Like we joke in our industry that we call it sudden income deficiency syndrome. That it hits like 9 out of 10 divorcing men. Like guys are doing really great, and then all of a sudden they're getting divorced, and they're like, "But this year's going to be bad. I'm not going to do well this year." Like you work for Goldman Sachs, and like, yeah, but we're having a bad year. So it happens a lot that judges tend to look at people and go, something tells me that if you're saying you're suddenly not doing well financially and it happens to be when you're getting divorced, there might be it's not a coincidence.
So I hear about these guys who don't pay child support. You see that anecdotally, whatever. But then the saying I always hear is, well, courts are not in the collections business. So I have some guys seemingly not really pay, kind of be unfair, and then some guys, well-intentioned, end up in jail.
So the courts, it depends on how bold the judge is. I mean, what I'll tell you is I'll give you some free legal advice. If you ever have a child support obligation against you, which I hope you never do, and you have to pay it and you don't have the money to pay it. Like if you're supposed to give her $2,000 a month and you don't have $2,000, don't give her $1,000. Give her $1,226.37. Because then when we get in front of the judge, we can say, Judge, I had $1,000. I borrowed $200 from my cousin. I found $32 under the mats of my car. This is everything I have. Because what people do is if you gave 1,000, why didn't you give 1,001? If you gave 1,500, like a round number, it just looks like you're full of shit.
This guy is literally giving free child support divorce consultation for free on YouTube. That's why I said at the beginning of this video, any man who wants to have kids, who wants to get married, you feel like you're in love, you don't care about child support, you don't care about alimony talk, you don't care about prenup, you may have to watch this video before you get married or you're married, just to see exactly what you're in for, because the statistics don't lie. Half of the marriages end in divorce. That's just a statistic. So as a man, if you're going to be logical enough to weigh your options, you might want to watch this video.
But yeah, I mean, look, we courts don't always, again, because judges are human. There are some judges, they will put you right the fuck in jail. I've had clients let off in orange, where the judge says, look, you got a week to pay this child support, and if you don't, bring a toothbrush when you come back to court, because I'm putting you away. And they'll lock guys up. They have what's called weekend jail.
Damn.
Where on Friday after work, you check in and you stay in jail until Monday morning.
Damn. Jeez. So you go to work Monday to Friday. On Friday, you check into jail as if you're checking into a hotel room, and come out Monday. You go back to work. You go to work, you come back on Friday, checking into jail, and then on Monday you go to work. Damn, man, that's not a life to live. So some of you guys thinking about marriage, thinking about having kids, this could be you. Because everything is fine in the honeymoon phase until she says she's bored, until she finds, a Mr. Handsome, a real Prince Charming. And then you're over there in divorce court, family court, going through the ring, is wondering, I thought we were meant for each other. So
you can work and pay your child support. Yeah.
Why does alimony exist?
That's a great question.
I get child support. I get
splitting of assets.
I get that.
You ever want to
real quick
want to take the feminism out of a woman?
Yeah.
Make her pay alimony.
Dude, I think one of the coolest things in the White Lotus episode, they have these 3 different girls that make up this girl group. It's phenomenal, and each is an archetype of a woman at their own age. But one of them is paying child support or alimony. But it is really interesting to see her reaction to it and how her friends react.
They hate it.
Yes. Okay, so can you explain, 1, what is alimony? And 2, what is like the Steelman argument for it? Like, give me the, not like, oh, this sucks, but what is the best case scenario?
Yeah, so alimony or spousal support or spousal maintenance, every state calls it something different, is a payment that's made from one former spouse to another. And it's intended to either rehabilitate their earning capacity so that they can kind of get on their feet, or it's to roughly approximate the marital lifestyle for a certain period of time. So it's very rarely what we call non-durational, meaning like you broke it, you bought it forever, you owe her the marital lifestyle. There was a time where that was the way it was done, but it hasn't been that way for many, many years now.
So just so I can clarify to anybody who's listening, essentially there's this idea where if you're married and you have a certain lifestyle,
Right. And there's a wide disparity in your incomes.
and there's a wide disparity in your potential income because the wife might not even be working.
Correct.
It is up to the husband or the wife, whoever is the breadwinner, to maintain that lifestyle outside of the marriage.
Or some approximation of it for some period of time.
Got it.
So the Steelman argument for it is the following. There are economic decisions you make during your marriage, and you make them as a couple, right? So it is very difficult for everybody to be Beyonce. Somebody's got to be Destiny's Child.
Absolutely.
You know, you can't all be the, Lionel Richie. Somebody's got to be the Commodores.
Sure.
So what you do is you say, okay, look, you're the star right now. I'm going to stand back. I'm going to take care of home. I'm going to do my thing. In the law, we call it diminished lifetime earning capacity, which basically means if a woman takes her late 20s or her 30s off from the workforce, because that's when you have kids. You have kids in your 30s, kids in your 40s.
Very hard for her to get
Right.
back into the workforce.
And when she gets back into the workforce, she's behind in the race.
So now she's
Like if
still,
you join the New York City Marathon halfway through, you're not going to finish with everybody else, no matter how fucking fast
And
you
just clarifying, behind at the race means like when she was 20, she would be in this beginner position. I forget what that's called, like early entry position.
Right.
At 40, she should be like a VP or something.
So-
because she hasn't worked for 2 decades, she has to go back at that beginning
So
position.
in the law, we call that diminished lifetime earning
And
capacity.
because it's a beginning position, the earning potential is very small.
Is lower, and it'll never catch up because by the time she reaches the age she would have been at 40, she's 60, so she's closer to retirement. So it's lost. So what you're doing is you're sort of saying, okay, we're going to compensate for that. That's the argument for it.
Now, I actually think that there's a lot of compassion, empathy in that idea. I like that's the best steel man
plenty
I've
of
heard
sense.
for it. It makes a lot of sense. Here's the
I
question.
don't think most people would disagree with that.
No. Here's the other question.
Yeah, I think with that explanation, most guys, if they're really making good money, wouldn't have an issue with it. I think the biggest issue I've heard men have with alimony is one, for it being forever. I think some states still, the divorce lawyer said no state still has forever, but some states had it where the guy is supposed to pay the ex-wife forever till he dies, or sometimes till she gets remarried. But obviously, because she knows money is coming in, most women don't get remarried because they want to keep the money coming in. I think number two, where guys have an issue with alimony, is they are paying this woman. She's living in the house he bought, and she's bringing men she's dating in the same house and getting her cheeks clapped. So that's where guys have an issue with it. But other than that, I could understand if a woman has been, a stay-home wife for all this long, for you to help her, get up on her feet once you get divorced. For some time is fair, if we're going to be honest, especially if she has been home the whole time.
Question I have. There are certain circumstances where there is a divorce, there's a payment and splitting of assets to the tune of like tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And on top of that, an alimony payment.
Yeah.
Isn't there a way where it could be calculated that the assets themselves would assume that alimony payment?
So what's really interesting is
that a fair-
without realizing it, you've actually just joined the legislative committee of the New York State Bar Association, because a few years ago,
Yeah.
the domestic relations law was actually modified to reflect exactly that.
Okay. I think
Where
that's
they
more
said
fair.
what they call it is the income creating capacity of assets received in equitable distribution. And now it is one
that
of the
makes a lot of
factors.
sense.
Yeah.
When I started my career 25 years ago, that wasn't a factor. And then a lot of lawyers, myself included, were like, wait, she's getting $20 million.
Why does she also
put it
need-
in treasuries
Yeah.
at 5%?
5%. Done.
She's got an income stream.
Yeah.
So the courts and the legislature caught up, and now they say, yeah, if you're getting, like I just did a divorce where there was an $800 million marital estate.
Wow.
Jeez.
She actually had the audacity to ask for alimony.
mean,
and the judge looked at it and went, listen, you're getting $400 million worth of assets. You're going to be all right.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you imagine? She got $400 million and she still wanted the guy to keep paying her money, alimony every Oh my God. There is no way any man can watch this video and be like, I'm getting married tomorrow. I'm still excited. if there's a man getting married tomorrow, if he watches this whole video, there's no way he's getting excited to get married tomorrow. There is no way, unless he's, I don't know, this has something to be wrong with his head. But this is fair. And this is one of the things most men were afraid of. So you're telling me I'm going to lose half, and on top of losing half of my assets, I'm still going to be required to pay you more money every month for the rest of your life after you just took half of my assets, my properties? Most guys are like, fuck this marriage thing. But he's saying some states are starting to change that. It's like, if you take half of my shit, I don't have to pay you nothing. You already took half, that's it. But I mean, I understand why some guys are quitting marriage, honestly.
Like we're not, that can kick off income if you want it.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm glad that they're making these adjustments. And I think a lot of times you have to put in this legislation because you have to protect women, especially at a time where like they weren't able to work.
Yes.
Like a lot of these laws, I imagine, are put in times where like women aren't even part of the workforce.
That's when a lot of them came about, and then the law is very slow to change because the way that our law works is it's sort of a living thing that modifies as times and standards change.
As it should, but there is bureaucracy you have to go through, and that's always going to be
right. And by the way, to bring it back to where we started here, that's why I'm a fan of prenups.
Yes.
Because if you're a fair person and your soon-to-be spouse is a fair person, couldn't you have this conversation?
So this is really interesting. And just to caveat it, like we all understand the emotional reaction to a prenup and this idea of like the impending doom of your marriage before it even starts. So we get that. But it is interesting to attack the prenup, maybe attack is the wrong word, but approach the prenup with this idea that current legislation might not reflect what both parties feel is fair in a relationship, no matter how it goes. And you can, if you love some of the current legislation, put that into the prenup. Sure. If you don't, you 100%. Can remove it. So I think that's an interesting argument for it.
That's to me the best argument for it, because here's the other problem. Is there another contract that you've ever heard of that they can change the terms of the contract without even fucking telling you?
That's interesting.
Like, imagine if you bought or leased a car.
Yeah, this is really
interesting. And they said, oh, by the way, the state just decided we're going to change how the interest rate works and when you have to make the payments. And you're not allowed to go, oh, well, then I'd like to opt out and return the car. And they go, oh, no, you can't do that. Sorry. Like, so there's rules. There's a prenup that was written for all three of your marriages
by the government
that can be changed unilaterally by people other than you and your wife and affect you forever. So to me, my attitude is, listen, you can do a prenup one way and then 3 years later do an addendum and modify it. Like, you can make it a living document, just like you make your will. You make your will at one point, you make it again 5 years later, you change it, it frequently.
I think the perception of it is a person with a lot of assets trying to make sure that the person that they're going to spend the rest of their life with never gets those assets in the event that the marriage doesn't work out, which is the goal of a lot of prenups.
And by the way, not an unfair concept. Like, let's
you're bringing 100 million.
Let's go to an alternate reality.
Wait a minute, I got to peel real quick, because the next thing I do want to talk to you about is like, I think we're getting there. Like, what happens with these like huge estates, these people that have like generational wealth? Anyway, can we take like 2 minute break?
All right, man. Shout out to the guys at Flagrant. This was a phenomenal, one of their best interviews ever, videos ever made, because so many guys are going to watch this, they're going to catch it, and they're going to save themselves years of stress and being broke, if anything, and being taken to the ringers in the divorce court, you know. So I hope all men who are considering marriage, who are in love and all these things, thinking about getting, you know, married and having kids, watch this video, because this guy provided $1 million free divorce, marriage, prenup consultation, you know, child support consultation on YouTube for free. So shout out to Flagrant. All right, I'll put the full link down below, because as you can see, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes and I can't watch all of it. I can't react to all of it. All right, so next up is shout out to the guys at No Fugazi podcast. This woman was saying she's a single mom. She says she can do a better job to raise a boy, her son, into a man better than a father, better than a man. Let's get into it.
You took it personal, right? In regards,
she said, I'm sitting here and nobody
Ladies, that's it. That's it.
Enough.
One mic at a time,
Anytime we
for real.
talking
Enough.
black, we can't do that.
One mic at a time, for real, because I'm gonna have to just start
Like, what?
really shutting it down. One mic at a time. Y'all talking too much. One, Charlie, she's speaking in general. You took it personal, right? In regards,
She said, I'm
guess
sitting
what?
in here and
Okay,
nobody
great. I'm speaking
black,
right now.
no
You
black
speaking while
woman
I'm speaking.
spoke on the water,
listen,
and I
listen.
did.
You speaking,
And I
Charlie?
spoke on
Listen,
it.
you speaking while I'm
And I
speaking.
spoke on it from
you
the rip.
speaking while I'm speaking. What I'm saying is this. The reality is, statistically speaking, your sons being raised by you, the probability is extremely low that they will never become a man.
But they
no
will.
woman can raise
But
a
they
son
will.
into a man.
But they
No.
will. That's like saying no man
listen.
can raise a girl into a woman.
Oh,
But
Yes, no man can do that. The girl, if the father is smart, he's gonna get the daughters, aunties, any female role models into the daughter's life so that they can help her, shape her into womanhood. The same way a woman cannot raise a boy into becoming a man. The woman, which is the single mom, you're gonna have to find male role models for your son, so that they can shape him into manhood. You cannot do that because you don't know the real experiences of a man.
you gonna say that, but he can
No,
though,
he
right?
definitely can.
He
He
can. I
definitely
bet
can.
he
He
can.
definitely can.
I bet he can.
He definitely
and I
can.
bet my
You
young
guys
boys gonna
are
be
so
top tier.
sexist.
And
This
there's
is like the
nothing y'all
most-
gonna be
It's
able
not
to do
sexist.
about it.
It's
My young boys
facts.
gonna be top tier, and that's in them right now.
So you agree with that?
I agree right now. I agree.
100% agree.
I agree.
All right,
Man.
ladies, this is good.
So
Y'all
why are
speaking
we
passionate.
nurturing this shit and we can't raise a man? We
I'll
can't
tell
raise
you.
agree that
I'll
you're
answer your question.
But I believe we can raise the
girl.
daughters.
We
can
can't
raise
raise the girl. We can't raise the son. We can't help the man. We can't do
No. I believe the woman can raise.
like what the that don't even make sense. We
Okay.
can't raise the kid. We can't raise
Because
the
we the
daughter.
one
We
that's
can't raise
raising
the
the kid.
son. The man.
She's going off, and she's not. And the thing is, other girls don't even agree with her. She's just going off right now.
Can raise the woman,
right.
the son, the daughter,
However,
pay all the bills and do everything. And the
However,
woman
as
is
a
not
female,
capable to do shit.
You tell
Right?
what should be.
Ladies,
Serving that.
Listen,
Like,
listen,
come on,
listen.
stop.
You asked the question. I'm going to
y'all
answer your
gotta
question
stop
because
with
you
that.
just talking too much. I'll
Gotta
let you get it
stop
out.
Massa.
I'll let you get it out, but now you're just talking too much. And you're asking questions where it seems like you truly need answers from because your worldview and your perspective is not in reality. So the truth is, statistically speaking, single mother households leads to degeneracy. Single mother households leads to juvenile delinquents. It leads to more men in prison. It leads to more women on stripper poles. It leads to all the degenerate behavior you see. It leads to gang violence and everything. Well, why are there gangs around? Because there's no fathers around. There were only mothers around. Fathers are the disciplinarians.
That's facts. You guys remember? I don't know if you guys experienced that, but I experienced it. Whenever you did something wrong and your mom or you are not listening to your mom, there's one thing she always said. Let's wait for your father to come back home. And then you would see the kids getting in line. Because you knew your father doesn't play those games. He gives you one slap and you get back in line. So even mothers knew, okay, this kid is not listening to me, especially boys, especially the mother's sons. If they're not listening, if the father is in the house, the mother usually is, I'm going to tell your father, you are not listening. I'm going to tell your father you did ABCD. I'm going to tell your father you were fighting at school. So it's true. The fathers are needed because they're going to hold that son and be like, hey, listen, you have to listen to your mom. And the kids get in line. But if the son knows, it's just because the mothers don't usually get, hands on. Even if they do, when the kid becomes a teenager, the mother can't really spank the son, but the father can really spank the son at any age.
Guess what? You know why? Because children just happen to listen to the father more than they listen to the mother. That's why. Also, when we're having this discussion and you keep looking at things very anecdotally and say that we're speaking specifically about you or anything, no, she's asking these questions and she's posing these questions in general, like why do black people in general, right? Then you start bringing other races in there. Let me
why
finish.
don't black
Charlie,
women
let me
in
finish.
general
Listen, Charlie, if you don't,
you can't do that.
Charlie,
That
you
doesn't
keep
make
cutting
sense.
off, you got to go. I'm gonna have to kick you off if you keep cutting off because I let you get it out, but now you are lacking decorum, right? So to explain things to you in more detail, one of the reasons why you can never raise your son into a man is because you are a woman. The only way a son can be, only way a boy can become a man is through a father. The other way is discovering it on his own. Most of these men out here that don't have any fathers, they're not real men.
And those are the same men the women complain about. Oh, these men are not leaders, they're not providers, they're not strong. You raised those boys. You raised your sons. So if you're raising your sons that way, you cannot complain about the type of men out here in the streets. So both mothers and fathers are needed.
The ones that are men that don't have any fathers are real men. They discovered it on their own. And guess what? Would you want your son to discover it on his own to become a man? It's a lot of ups and downs because he never had an example to learn from. A wise person learns from other people's mistakes. So the father is there to instill certain things into the son to let him know, like, hey, don't do this because I did those things before. I bumped my head. I don't want you to bump your head. Do you get what I'm saying? You haven't lived the male experience. You lived a female experience, which is much different. The female experience is much privileged. It's more privileged than a man's position. You can go out. You don't have to worry about protecting and really providing. If all came to all, you can just sell your vagina.
She's not gonna like that. She's not gonna like that. I mean, let's see.
From my standpoint, women ain't out here buying. You get what I mean? So guess what? We actually have to go out there and work. This chick is on a stripper pole. Can a nigga get on a stripper pole and make bread like that?
Yes,
No.
Yes,
No,
he
you're
can.
speaking about.
He can get on a stripper pole in gay clubs, but men don't tip men the same way men tip women strippers in where female strippers are.
The exception. I knew y'all was gonna
That was
say
an
that.
exception.
The exception. And guess what? That exception of men that actually go on a stripper pole and dance, they don't even make a fraction of the money that strippers make.
Facts.
So that is a lie. Even the male
That's a
strippers
lie. Men
don't
make
make that
more.
bread.
That's
They do
actually-
not.
Men do not make male strippers don't make more than female strippers. I don't know which world these women live in.
Not make more.
That's
That is a
cap.
lie. One, there
That's
is.
cap. And this is coming from a dancer.
Yeah, she
that's
knows.
cap.
Men
See?
make less.
I know, but I'm just saying that's cap. Maybe
That's-
back like when you were dancing, but like now in today's age, like nah,
Men
that's
make
cap.
less.
You really think?
So, listen, ladies, I'm just giving you some game because before y'all was just speaking nonsense.
Women are more free with their money when they're drinking and having a good time. It's
No, because those same women get the money from men, so they don't spend it just like that. Even if they do, they usually if you guys have seen videos in strip clubs, if a woman is spending money like that, throwing it in strip clubs, there's usually a guy next to her who has the bundles of money. Women don't just get up like men do with bundles of money and then go, spread out in the strip clubs. In fact, if strip clubs depended on women, they would close. They would all close in 1 month.
What's that?
No. That what are you talking about? There's
You
not
said
there's not a
that
lot of women that want to
men
go.
don't
Stop
make
it.
money
Listen.
stripping,
Yes,
dancing,
what
or
I'm
shaking
saying
their dick,
is,
whatever they're
Do
doing.
you think who do you?
Yes,
who
they
do. You,
do.
So okay, so who do you think are the buyers of sexuality? Who do you think are the consumers of sexuality? Stop
Men.
speaking. Stop speaking. And listen. Think before you speak. Don't just respond. Think before you speak. Who do you think are the main consumers of sexuality? Men or
Men.
women? If there is men that consume sexuality, obviously the market for women to sell their sexuality is going to be much bigger than the market for men to sell their sexuality. So what I'm saying is facts. You don't have to work. You can sell pussy and still make it.
In fact, when men are usually selling sexuality, it is to other men, gay men. But even then, there are very few gay strip clubs. There are very few gay clubs. And those gay strip clubs, they don't have money, guys spreading money and carrying bundles of money the way they do in the normal female strip clubs.
You don't never have to be a bum. Do you see homeless chicks on the street? No. If there's any homeless chick on the street, it's by choice. She don't gotta be homeless. She got a pussy that she can sell. Ain't got dick to sell. It ain't working. So what I'm saying, the male experience is much different than a woman experience. You live life on freaking easy mode. You don't get it. You can't raise no son. It ain't happening. You don't understand the male experience. So you speaking like, well, yeah, I can raise my son into a boy. You're not raising your son into a boy. I'm trying to wake you up and give you the reality that you ain't. So the only thing you can hope for is maybe some nigga that you can bag as a stepfather to raise that for you. And if not, you better hope that God is with your son to raise that to a man. If not, he ain't being no man. He gonna be like all of these other whips that y'all chicks complain about. Sassy boys. Oh, these is feminine. Oh, they're leading me on. They're selling me a dream. They're not being masculine and telling me the truth. He's gonna be like one of those niggas. The nigga that y'all chicks complain about. What are you talking about? You raising a boy into a boy. He will never be a man.
Facts. He was going off. You know, so shout out to No Fugazi. But I think the reason this woman was really pushing back because she's a single mom of a boy. So I can understand how she has the cognitive dissonance of thinking, you know what, I can do it all by myself. Maybe she doesn't even like the father like that. Because usually I've heard before that women can get to hate the father of the kids more than they love the kids. So maybe the reason she's pushing so back so much is because she doesn't like her baby daddy. And she thinks she's going to raise her boy into a man. But we need both men and women. We need both. Kids need both mothers and fathers. There's a reason why both of you make the kids. If one party is missing, the child is definitely going to feel it. So shout out to No Fugazi podcast. I'll put the full link down below. But we have this lady, good looking lady, by the way, on TikTok saying men need to do better because she divorced her husband. She went out to the streets, but she realized the streets are not as easy as she thought. So let's get into it.
Hey, good morning, TikTok. Hey, I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say something because, you know, I have to say something. So I've been single now since my divorce 7 years ago. And I'm just in the bills.
All right, let me replay.
Hey, good morning, TikTok. Hey, I normally don't do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and say something because, you know, I have to say something. So I've been single now since my divorce 7 years ago. And I'm just so troubled because, you know, the dating world, I'm 60 years old, just turned 60 on March 11th. 60 years old, and all that I've desired in the last 7 years is just somebody to love, somebody that wants to be loved, somebody that is looking for their ride or die, you know, and I keep running into people that, you know, men that are portraying to be something that they're not, you know, with hopes to getting, you know, in between the love zone. And it's like, I at 60 years old, or even in my 50s, I don't have time to be doing a ton of soul ties. I just don't. You know, numbers mean everything to me, especially knowing how many people that I've been with. So I was married for 19 years, or at least with the idiot for 19 years. But anyway.
Did you guys hear the first red flag? She was married for 19 years and she just called him an idiot. That's the first red flag. So guess what? There is no man who's going to watch this video and think about the fact that you married a man for almost 20 years. He was good enough for 20 years, but now you're calling him an idiot. But how can the new man expect you to respect him? Like, you had a ride or die. You can't be out here at 60 years old looking for a ride or die. You had the ride or die for 20 years. And then you let it go because you thought there was a new Prince Charming out here in the streets. The streets are cold and tough. You look good for 60, I'll give you that. But for you to call your ex-husband an idiot, the man you were with for 20 years, that's a red flag. No man is going to watch this video and be like, oh, she's a catch. She's the woman God promised for me. No man.
I don't want to get beside the point. I'm heartbroken because I feel like the way of the world today is like people don't really care. You know, they're out here just lying, manipulating, just doing anything, shooting their shot. I'm so tired of hearing that expression, shooting their shot. Anyway, I need for men to understand that, you know, to sit there and lie and say that you're something or somebody that you're not, you're setting these women up for failure. And if you know God, like, you don't just get to hurt somebody, say, I'm sorry, and then repent. You will be held accountable.
The same God you're talking about is the same God I think you used in your marriage when you said for better or worse. And for 20 years you did that. But when you were divorcing your husband, I'm very sure you didn't think about God. But now that you want a new man, for some reason, you remember the words of God? You could have thought about God when you divorced your husband. I mean, and this is what I'm saying. And this is what men are worried about. So you're telling me when you were getting married in front of God, the church, I'm sure there were so many people, the pastor and everyone, you used the Bible and made vows to stay with a man for better or worse. You divorce him and then you come back to the streets and now you want a new man and you're saying men are not following the word of God. Damn.
It's just not right. I mean, you're sending women out into the community, back to work, back home. You know, I mean, these are women that, I mean, if you can imagine you're affecting somebody's grandmother, somebody's sister, mom, daughter. You know, I mean, these are women that literally, there's a lot of us out here looking for love and that want to be loved. But then there's a lot of women out here hustling to make that money. You know,
You, ma'am, you had love for 20 years and then you divorced the man. No, some women will never have love for 5 years. You had it for 20 years. So how can you leave that to come out in the streets to still look for love? The Disney fantasy fairy tale at 60 years old. I mean, you look good, I'll give you that. But this is just astonishing to even listen to.
you know, God bless them. Let them do as they do. But when people tell you, or a woman says they've been saving themselves for somebody special, don't invade in their peace. Because once you disturb someone's peace, then they got to start back over with the healing process. And it just breaks my heart that this is the world we live in. Like, social media has taken over. Like, people don't think for themselves anymore. They see something nice and they want to go get it. And they'll lie and say whatever it is that they can say to try to get this accomplished. It's not right. It hurts me. Like, it bothers me that I've been, you know, alone for 7 years with, you know, like waiting on someone to realize that, you know, I'm a gold mine. But instead, they see the physical. I understand that I put myself out there in bikinis, this, that, and the other. I'm not looking for anybody on social media. Get that. But even if I...
So if you're not looking for someone on social media, why do you have your, you know, sexy bikini photos on social media? That means you're looking for attention. So how is your new man, your new Prince Charming, supposed to look at that and think, oh, that's my wife? And also she divorced her husband of 20 years and now she's calling him an idiot on a public platform. Damn.
There's still a line of respect. I don't even care if the woman is shaking her ass, in which I don't do. I don't have anything negative for how women roll. But what I do have to say that is negative, stop assuming that a woman's confidence means that she wants your dick inside of her. That's not it. A woman's confidence, maybe she woke up feeling like, hey, I'm sexy this morning. I want to present that. And let her be. Just compliment her and keep it moving. That shooting the shot, you probably won't get a shot, but be respectful. That's what I love about TikTok. Now on TikTok, I get the utmost respect. And I value y'all. I'm so choked up. But on Facebook, I get disrespected. I get talked down to. I get put down. I have people that stalk me. I have people that say negative things. I have people that simply, like, will follow me, study me, and then, try to go in for the kill. It's just all disheartening. Like, are we living in this world today? Have we forgotten God? Don't forget God.
I just said the fact that she keeps talking about God, don't forget God, God this. But ma'am, you made vows in front of God to keep your marriage for 20 years and you broke the vows. I hate people like this, man. I'm not the most religious person, but I'm never going to use God about somebody because I know I'm not righteous either. So are you saying the God you serve allows you to just end your marriage and then use the same God to try to get men to like you? This is so annoying. This is why men are tired of this marriage BS. Because when it's time for marriage, they use God. But when it's time for divorce, they don't use God. This is annoying. What do you guys think about that? Man, we are cooked. Dating is cooked. All right, next up, shout out to Lapif as usual. They've been on fire lately, and I like these conversations. Again, dating is cooked. That's all I'm going to say. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Question to get him reeled in. You want me to throw it at you, M. White? Pause.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah, pause. Let me just ask you this question.
That was a major goddamn pause.
Pause, bro. Don't you making it even more awkward, Sweeney. But check it out, M. White. A girl who's a girl and a man that's in a relationship, they cohabitating. This man job is to protect her. This woman goes out. I don't know how often, but she drinks and she party. She's hanging around other single women and swinging dicks. And her judgment is impaired, obviously, because she's consuming alcohol. Is that considered the whole culture 304 behavior?
Yes.
And I'm gonna put icing on the cake. Hold on. Let me put the icing on the cake.
You don't have to answer the question.
Hold on, wait. Let me put the icing on the cake. M. White, this is the last question. If she turn off her location and don't want you to know where she at, on top of that.
Yes, double yes.
Motherfucking.
I never said that though. This is what I don't like when men do that. I never said that. He took what I said and made a question on his own to get a certain answer. That's not what I said. So this is why I keep saying, listen, instead of hearing people, because that's not what I said. And you were you was quick to cut me off, but that's not what I said. But this is why I leave the unmuted. Y'all study said that
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything.
I told you he was doing that. He was baiting you so he can blame you. But I want to ask a question. So
hold on, we can't see you.
I also feel like Aisha too. I just want to ask
real quick, Danielle. I've been waiting, and I was gonna leave, but before I leave, I just want to ask a question. Why are Black men the only men that I have ever seen? And I mix with a lot of things. I know a lot of other cultures. Black men are the only men that want a woman role to be heightened. You want her to be submissive. You want her to listen to you, let you lead. But your responsibilities are lower. You mentioned don't mention that he don't pay the bills. That's the main thing that a man is supposed to be doing, working to provide for his family.
Wait, what? Where did she meet these Black men? Because the last time I checked, a man's roles never change. A woman's expectations of a man never change. You gotta provide from the day I get to know you to the last day I divorce you or I break up with you. If a man and woman are living in a house, if she doesn't want to cook, doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to submit, he's still required to pay the rent, to buy food. She's going to eat the food and still not respect you because you still have to provide. So where is it that men's roles are allowed to stop? And, even when they get divorced, men are still required to pay alimony and child support at the same time. A man's role never stops. What?
You're asking a woman to leave her family to be with you, to live with you, to procreate, carry a baby, change her DNA to become a mother, and you all keep saying things like, "Oh, forget that he don't pay the bills." If a man don't pay the bills, you don't owe him nothing. If he don't put a ring on it and pay the bills and love you correctly, a lot of women get a portion of that. They get the love, don't get the money, or the providing, or they get the providing and they don't get the love.
Because no one is perfect. They are looking for a perfect man. They want him to be six feet. Sometimes these days, they actually, if you're 6 feet, they say you are short. They want him to make $1 million. If you make $70,000, it's not good enough, right? They want him to be in shape. They want him to listen. They want him not to be held, to be able to hold them accountable. So if they do something wrong, he should just be patient and understand, say nothing about it, right? But if he does something wrong, he better change it ASAP, right? They want him to provide at all times. And they want him to know that she will do her role, her expectations, sometimes and sometimes not. So they want a perfect man, but there's no man who's perfect.
She said he paid the bills.
No, she said he didn't. She said they went, I think they either went 50-50 or she paid her own phone bill or paid. Did he pay 100% of y'all rent, Danielle?
Yeah.
Okay, well, and that's great. I didn't hear that part.
I said he paid the bill.
Now
He
you can
didn't
just be
pay
quiet
my
then.
No. I will say this. I'm happy that he did pay the bills, but again, that is temporary. I wouldn't be paying no woman bills that is not my wife.
Hey, that cognac make your ears close.
Well, I didn't hear that part. I was about to leave, but let me say this: I wouldn't be paying no woman bills that's not my
Danielle,
wife.
She's talking out of. She's contradicting herself.
Yeah, now who's listening?
You
Who's hearing and who's listening?
Pay her bills.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
You got it, Will.
Pay her bills, but don't
on,
pay her bills if she's not your wife. What are
No,
we
I'm saying,
talking about?
listen, Will, if you listen to understand and to actually connect with women versus to argue and be combative.
Okay, let's connect.
Oh, she's now playing victim. You know how they do that? She's now trying to play victim. That he's being combative.
Let's connect,
So
Ali.
I said, yeah, he should be paying the bills, but also he should be paying them towards marriage. You should be working towards marriage.
But you just said a man shouldn't pay a woman's bill if the woman is not his wife. Now you're saying he should pay bills as he's trying to make her his wife. Like, what the hell is wrong? Well, they say she was drunk, so.
Working towards marriage, and I'm not your husband yet. Should I be paying your bills, Ali?
You can honestly,
Ali,
I wouldn't accept too much control. I'm trying to answer it, Will, and you know what? Every time you're so combative, it's draining. I'm drained.
I don't understand.
I need a
let's
charger
connect.
now.
Let's start over. Let's
charger. Let me put it in my mouth.
Let's start over. Before you go,
I'm about
listen.
to put this charger in my mouth. I'm drained. Stop it.
You about to?
I'm drained.
What?
I thought you said let you put something up.
I just wanted to reply. I think that a lot of times we play house and we don't know how to even build a house together. I wouldn't allow a man to pay 100% of my bills because I don't want him to have that much control. I want a man to come and lead and guide me and show me how to do things as I show him how to do things as a
What
single.
are you going to show a man to do? Like, tell us real quick.
If you don't know what a woman can show a man,
you always do this. Just tell us.
You
I don't
shouldn't be married if you don't know the answer.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
what are you women going to show us
your
how to
wife
do?
what she showed you because it wasn't
You
much.
know, my woman.
Yo, can you imagine as a man being married to this type of woman? You get off work, long day, and you get home. But when you get home, you are expecting a fight. You are expecting her to, bag you and nag you on every little thing. She's going to nag you about how you left the dishes in the sink, about everything. She's just going to, and it's going to be worse when she drinks. Damn.
I'm stupid too. I'm stupid. She's stupid. We don't know. We don't know. What is my woman supposed to be showing me, Danielle? I mean, Ali.
You gotta go. You should get a new one. Bring her on.
Okay, but if I get a new one, what should the new one be showing me? If I get a new one, what should the new one be showing me? If I get a new woman, Danielle, if I leave my woman tonight and I get me a new woman tomorrow, what is that new woman?
The problem is you're 45 and you see no value in women.
I'm not 45.
So now she's switching the conversation. Now she's attacking his character.
Takes care of you.
I'm not 45. That's
you
fine.
don't have no value for women, so
I know I don't. I know
you
I
don't
don't.
understand the value of a woman. So
But you're not telling me. I'm asking you.
Okay, Ali, can you answer his question, please? Like Ali, Will, don't you
I
ask?
have no value to this man. He don't
Okay.
even see the value in
Okay,
anyone.
Will, ask the question. Ali, can you answer this question?
She's never gonna answer.
My woman is in my life, whether her and I stay together or not. If she's not in my life, what should the new woman I meet be showing me? What should she be teaching me?
Okay, I think that whether man or woman, that when you're in a partnership, you should be challenging each other to better one another. You should be uplifting each other, and you should be receiving the support that when the world is against you, you have somebody in your corner. I think that's what a partnership, the cornerstone of a partnership is. If your wife don't give you that, that's probably why you asking this. But she should be doing that. You should feel like when the world is against you, black man, that woman is going to go through hell and hot water for you to support you, protect you the same way, and provide for you the same way you provide for her. That's why a lot of black women want to be provided for, because we like to provide. We are nurturers. We're women.
Wait, guys, tell me, where are the women who like to provide for men? Where? I'm looking for them. I need to find them. Maybe some of you guys in the comments know where these women are living, are staying, but I don't know women who are running to provide to men, to provide for men. I don't know any.
Women. I have a bosom. Come lay in it. That's how I am.
Can you give us an example of a woman going through hell and hot water for us?
Good.
Can I just say something real quick? Oh, my
That'd be
bad, Darla.
giving birth is going through hell and hot water for us.
I'll give one example, then I'm a mute. We literally march and stand on the front line and take rubber bullets for men that we don't know. When we
No, you do that because you want to. We are talking about in a relationship. Don't tell us about marching. We are talking about in a relationship. You march because you want to. Now, if your man asks you to go march with him, that's one thing. But we're talking about in the dynamics of a relationship between man and woman in the household. Give us an example of that. She doesn't have any.
see a
I'm
black
talking
man
about for a husband.
Exactly.
that I just gave you an example. If
No,
I'm
that's for
willing
all.
to
That's
do
for
that for a man I don't know,
Oh my God.
imagine what I'm gonna do for my husband. If
Oh
I'm
my
willing to,
I don't want to imagine. That's why I asked you something specific, so I don't have to imagine.
well, I'm in my soft girl era. I don't go
Oh
through
my
hot.
God. You know what hurts me is there's a man who goes home to this. Oh, he's looking forward to go to this. I can't imagine the toxicity in that kind of household. Anyway, man, shout out to Lapif. I'll put the full link down below. So, guys, this was a short one, but till next time, peace.